Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to review our last module for this class. This is module 14, week 14. There isn't going to be any module 15 or 16. This is the last module for the class. This means that the class will be over at the end of the week. But as the class ends, I want to remind you of your responsibilities. The first thing to note is that you have to conference with me on Monday, and I'll be going over the course calendar, and you should be aware of this if you paid careful attention to my review of module 13. Once in a while I get an email from students and they will say that they didn't know what's coming up, and often I ask myself, are they even following the announcements I send out? Do they even watch the videos that I do? Because if you have been doing that diligently, you should be aware of the virtual conference that is coming up. Notwithstanding, if perhaps you're aware of the conference and you did not sign up for the conference, that is up to you. I already thought of a plan B, and the plan B is you have to meet with a tutor. It is up to my discretion to let you see me given that you missed the deadline flagrantly, because I sent out announcements about this, I released videos about this, so I don't see any excuse how you just managed to miss that. Maybe you have one reason or the other why you couldn't sign up for the conference, but if you don't have any reason other than the fact that you didn't know that it was out there, you are admitting to being negligent about your responsibilities as an active student. That said, I always appreciate it when students reach out to me, and especially when they have questions that I believe are very sincere. I also want to draw your attention to the end of the semester survey. So you should have access to it. If you click on this tab here, end of semester student survey, you should be brought to a page such as this. So this is something that I encourage you all to complete. It's more for me than it's for you. On the other hand, I also get to understand what students are interested in about the class, or maybe they learned something about the class. So please complete the end of the semester survey. It's something that you are all able to do, but as you do that, I want you to keep in mind that there are other tasks that I expect. Okay, so there are other tasks that you have to complete in this class, so it's not the most urgent. At the same time, I appreciate it. Please spend some minutes, like 5 minutes. Shouldn't take up to more than 5 minutes to complete the survey. That said, looking at the course calendar, you should be aware that there's going to be a virtual conference. There's a specific folder that you can access to take you to that, and I'll be going over that in a few minutes. Next to the virtual conference, it's important to know that we are going to be meeting, especially for the conference, on WebEx. So if you haven't downloaded WebEx, please do so. I believe it's free. If you're Harper College students, you should be able to download it. It is what we use here at Harper. I can use Zoom, but I used to do that in my previous classes. But since this is sponsored by Harper College, and since this is free, it makes sense for us to just use what the college offers for free for us to use, because my other Zoom account is with the other college where I teach. Now, that said, I want to draw your attention to the final project. You're looking at the course calendar, you will notice that that's due on the 16th. So that's not going to be on a Friday, but it's due on the 16th. The self-reflection essay is also due on the 16th. I should have your feedback by Monday, hopefully, and if I don't get it to you by Monday, then I may have to reschedule the final submission, and that is TBD. But as it is, your submission is due on Thursday, the 16th of May. Okay? Now, I also want to draw your attention to, let's go into the course shell. So we're going to look at, I'm going to access this from the course material tab, and I'm going to go to weekly readings and materials. Remember, you can also access this by clicking on the learning modules tab. You should know this by now. I believe you all know this. So week 14, and this is where you find all the learning materials. So it should be easy for you to access the final project conference information. And this is the sign-up sheet and everything you need to know. I talked about it here. So like I said, if you tell me that you didn't know about this, you're admitting that you've just not been a diligent student. I could understand if there's some mistake, but I don't see any reason why you guys should have missed that instruction, because I talked about it, like I said, multiple times. So I'm going to go back into week 14, and you will notice that I have hyperlinked again the submission for the final project, which is your final draft. So I only want to see your part 2 and your part 3. Part 1 is done, completely done, so you don't need to submit that again. Just your part 2 and 3, the final draft. Then of course when you submit that, the self-reflection essay should be submitted. What you need to do there, I've reviewed that in a video on its own, so you should check that out. Again, I've hyperlinked this here so that you can easily access the assignments and projects tab. So doing this, it's a shortcut. So if you go to the assignments and projects tab, you can also find the submission box there. I need to release the self-reflection essay. I thought I did so, but I didn't. And nobody even said anything to me. But I'm glad that I caught that. So you should all have access to the self-reflection essay. It's right here. So the self-reflection essay is pretty much what I expect from you. I've discussed it in my previous review in module 13, so you should know what I'm expecting in the self-reflection essay. That said, I want to draw your attention to what was completed during the previous week. When I go into the discussion board, I noticed that you guys many of you completed the summary and paraphrasing activity. If you notice my feedback, you all did excellently well, by the way, in the quoting and synthesizing activity. I think the area where there was a struggle was in summary and paraphrasing. There was a lack of consistency. So whenever you're summarizing and paraphrasing, you always, I repeat, you always make use of auto-referencing. You make use of auto-references when you're paraphrasing, auto-references when you're summarizing. It's like you turn on the channel 7 News and somebody is saying X and Y happened in Israel, or X and Y happened in Russia, or X and Y happened in London. They always quote, according to sources, there was a plane crash in the Red Sea. According to NASA, there is going to be a launch of another space shuttle. So you don't just hear information without attribution. So those of you who engage in summarizing and you didn't use attributions, you should have noticed that I took out maybe 1 or 2 points depending on the scenario. I looked at your summary of one and paraphrasing of the other. Okay, so I wanted to draw your attention to that. The quoting and synthesizing, I think that was, for the most part, many of you understand what you're supposed to do and you did it. That said, I want to draw your attention to what else that I need to talk about. So I said final project presentation on the course calendar. This is to be announced. If there is going to be a final project presentation, that is going to be extra credits. However, I do not think you need to sweat about it. If you do need extra credit, you need to talk to me and I will determine what is possible for you. If I think it's right for you to go for it. If not, don't sweat about it. It won't hurt your grade. It's just, I've always had extra credit opportunity, but I think some students might need it and some other students might not need it. But you just want to focus on the final project because that carries more weight than some extra credit. Okay? On that note, I want to say it's been a pleasure reviewing videos by the week. I did it from the beginning of the class, and now I'm ending it with my last review. As I sign off, you will still hear from me. This isn't the last announcement, but this is my last review for this class, particularly when it comes to the learning modules. On that note, I want to say I wish you guys the best weekend and have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.